huh? Look at all this stuff sitting here. Hey, Jamal, I know usually we're talking about Mini Coopers and such, but during this, what do we call this era we're living in now? The C19 era, the pandemic era. You know, I started doing an assessment of where I am and how likely I am to ever use much of the collection I've gathered. And so I've decided to offer up my R1 for sale. Take just a couple of minutes here to talk about a couple of really cool things about this bike. You know, I've owned benchmark super bikes. It's funny, I've had a 1984 Yamaha FJ1100. I bought it a couple of years old when I was 24 or so. And then I bought a new Honda CBR 900 with the really nice aluminum frame. It was a cutting edge benchmark super bike. And then this one, 2004. This was a huge step up in power and looks. Yes, they copied the Ducati to some extent here. When you look at the tail, the Ducati 916 and all those iterations. But this thing really is well executed. One of the things as a car guy, as somebody who pays attention to details, I don't like a lot of extra stuff on here. People are like, wow, where'd you get the pipes? Well, these are the stock pipes, and I very carefully removed what I call the lawyer guards. These little plastic things and their various tiny bracketry, the little cap that's over here. I have those somewhere. I haven't found those yet. But these are the stock titanium exhausts, and look how clean the back of the bike looks. Now, the other bikes I've had, yes, the FJ1100 a while ago, underneath the plastic, that thing was about as exotic as a forklift, and that's not my making that up. That's moto journalists of the time. You know, you look under some of these swoopy plastic bikes back then, and yeah, exotic as a forklift. The CBR 900 was pretty cool. It had the really nice aluminum frame that was visible through, the nice swing arm, but and I ended up polishing a lot of that stuff up on that one. When you remove pieces like the fender and the little chain guard bits, you're left with these welded tabs. When you remove the passenger foot pegs, there's these forks that stick down with holes in them that obviously is supposed to have something that look hideous on the bike, and it's far too tedious to hack them off at the frame. And if you did that, you'd have no way to put them back on. This is so well executed. Everything well thought out. You can remove bracketry, like you could barely tell where the factory foot pegs went. So I used some of those bolts to make just a very simple license plate bracket. And this thing, with the exhaust up like that, I know that became fashionable for a short time, but it was basically legislated away because this thing sounds great. And, you know, the powers that be don't like motorcycles that sound great. And so you see these honking big pipes back on the current super bikes that are just like carrying a big garbage can around. Now this thing is about as sleek and as clean, and with the removed bracketry and stuff, I really like this open look. When this thing's going down the road, nothing but business. And that's the view most people usually get of it. I'll see if I can sneak in a couple of short riding clips. I'm not the type to show myself riding wheelies or doing crazy speeds like some of these guys on YouTube. I've had a channel for nearly 15 years, and I think in all that time I might have just, you know, like hot rodded my Mini Cooper around a parking lot once just for fun, and that was just obvious fun. But this thing I've experimented with a couple mounts, and the most recent one for this little GoPro in my hand, it took a decent little clip. Let's sneak that in here, and we'll see if anybody will appreciate this machine as much as I have in the, oh gosh, 16 years, 5 leap days. I had a deposit on that way in advance. It's number 171 of this first year of the Gen 3 R1. Nobody else has ever ridden it. It's just an amazing machine, and I hope somebody gets to enjoy it as much as I have. Funny looking thing. Doesn't look like that lump of plastic and gush belongs on that cool looking super bike. But yep, this is what came with it. You know, stuff hanging down here over the wheels. In much of the world, people ride these in all weather. We don't here. But this sort of stuff and all the bracketry and bits that held various little things. Oh, magazines of the era, of course. Shock and awe. Look at this. 186 miles an hour. That was this beast right here before they started regulating them more seriously. And of course, Mr. Valentino Rossi, back in the day, and still one of the greatest ever. A variety of bits and pieces to go along with the bike. Pieces that came with it. We'll do a quick walk around video from multiple angles. I took a number of pictures, but something about a live video that, and you'll have to pardon the pollen. It is pine pollen season, and nothing sits out here for 5 minutes without getting a light layer of yellow pine pollen dust on it. Now this GoPro is a very wide angle. I'm within arm's reach of the bike. I'm not sure what kind of a wide angle weird view it's going to give, but not much to lose. Here we go. Look at that. What a beast. Every time I ride it I go, I don't know if I could sell it. Then I get off and my knees, oh, you really, it's not a super tight fold, but this Corbin seat's a bit lower, and so it's a fairly tight fold on the knees, and my left knee just is not happy with a ride of any duration anymore, unfortunately. Of course, the 5-year-old and the 5-year-old's mom, particularly mom, really hound me about it too, and it hasn't seen much use, so let's hope it finds a happy home. I've tried a variety of different mounts. Let's see if this one works off the helmet without interfering with my vision. Head makes a good shock absorber, but we'll see if I can get a field of view that's workable, and if I can hear myself talk, and if the chickens get out of the way. Hey, you guys, and the goats don't mind. See why with the Minis pull first gear, I'm used to it. I don't need a transmission with this thing. Downtown Nevada City. It's funny to see all these places empty on a weekend. Nevada City, pretty empty. GoPro mount. About that. Go. Our favorite on ramp. friendly too.